Hey guys, it's Saria. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I made this Falcon inspired set of Marvel ears. I think they came out really cute and I designed them for my daughter's Marvel outfit when we were on our Disney cruise. So if you're interested in how I made them, then just keep watching. For the main fabric, I chose this charcoal gray kind of silky fabric. It did have a good stretch to it, which is always kind of nice when you're making ears. And I'm going to be cutting 4 of the ear cutting line template out on this. My fabric piece was humongous, so this was a little difficult, but I used a silver Sharpie to trace it, and I just traced 4 of these and cut them out. I do like to use this little mini rotary blade cutter. It's from Dollar Tree and it works really well, and then I just use it on my cutting mat. It is so much faster than scissors and it was only $1.25. For the middle layer on the ear, I like to use felt. Normally I use a felt that matches my fabric, but because this fabric was so dark, I wasn't really worried about it matching, so I just pulled out the sheet of teal felt and I traced 4 of the exact same template on it and cut those out. So that's still the ear cutting line template. You just need 4 of these to go underneath the fabric so that it kind of builds up the ear and makes it look a little bit nicer and less cheap. The final layer is cardboard, and for this one you are going to switch templates. I have all of these templates linked down below for you guys to use, but this is the foam and batting template, and you trace 4 of these onto cardboard and cut those out as well. Once you have all your layers cut out, we're going to move on to assembling. So starting with the cardboard layer and the felt, you're going to do a thin line of hot glue at the very top of the cardboard and then fold over your felt and tap it down into the glue. If this is your first time making ears, I say this pretty much every time, but work in small segments. It's a lot easier and you won't be stressed about like messing up or burning your finger. The little silicone cover on my finger is also from Dollar Tree, and I think it comes in a pack of 2 or 3, and it's totally worth buying if you're someone who burns your finger a lot like me. But as you can see, I've done this a lot, so I usually work in 3 sections. I do the top and then the 2 sides. When I get to the bottom, I like to snip the bottom portion in half and then do glue on each side and fold over the fabric and press it down. I think that helps prevent puckering and any type of weird wrinkles. Once you have the felt layer on, you can move on to the fabric layer. So it's the same method. You do a thin line of hot glue and then tap down your fabric. I like to start at the top and then work down the sides like this. And then at the bottom, we'll do the same thing we did with the felt, where you kind of snip the fabric down the middle and then fold it over in 2 halves. I'm going to be doing 2 different designs on each ear so that I can kind of emulate different parts of his costume. So on the first side, I decided to use this red velvet ribbon, which I'm going to show you kind of a pitfall with using this ribbon, and it might be better to pick something thicker or double layer it. But I messed around with the design a little bit and I came up with this kind of like diagonal line shape. And I just cut the ends of the 2 ribbons angled so that they would touch nicely. Now this ribbon, when I glued it down, you can see the hot glue through the ribbon if you get really close. So that's the only downside to using this kind of ribbon. And I probably just shouldn't have used so much glue, but it is what it is. And then after I was happy with the kind of shape and the size of everything, I'm going to go ahead and attach it to the ear. I think what may have worked better is if I had only glued down the end of the ribbon and then only put glue on the back once it was wrapped around the ear. But as you can see, I did glue down like the entire line of ribbon. So the heat of it is going to kind of change the appearance of the ribbon, unfortunately. But I am just going to glue these down in place and then I'm going to add some more details. I had some hot glue strings sticking out under these, so I used a lint roller just to get those off. And this is when I noticed the discoloration on it, so I'm going to give you guys a close-up just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. They did turn out just a little messier than I would have liked. Moving on though, I'm going to cut off the excess ribbon because I didn't need this much hanging off around the sides. And then I'm going to glue the ends of that on the inside of the ear so that you won't see it once we're all done. I thought the middle looked a little unfinished, so I decided just to add these 2 red rhinestones to the middle, and I think it really did add some bling and some sparkle to it, which was really nice. I would suggest letting your glue dry on the jewels before moving on to the step, just because you don't want them to slide off when you're putting the ears together. But once you're ready, apply a pretty good amount of hot glue to the back side of your plain ear, and then you're going to press this one on top and finish off one side. For the trim on the ears, I decided to use this black braided trim. I think this one's from Hobby Lobby, but I'm not sure. It's pretty basic. I just liked that it had some texture to it. So I'm going to do a thin line of hot glue on the crack between the two pieces of ears, and then I'm going to tap down the trim onto the hot glue. This is a time where I would say don't be too liberal with the glue, because you don't want it to ooze out past the trim because it makes it look really messy. So just do a thin line, and then if you have to go in and add a little bit more, it'll be okay. And then just work your way around the ear, gluing a little bit as you go, and then cut off any excess once you get to the end. If the trim on your ears is fraying, you can take a lighter and just lightly burn the edges of the trim. Just obviously be careful because you don't want to set things on fire. And next we're going to move on to the other side of the ear. So this trim is very odd. It's string, and then the metallic part is almost like a really thin tin foil. And I believe I got this at Hobby Lobby. So it is a little hard to work with, but I did want something metallic and I wanted something skinny, and I already had this on hand. So for this part, I'm going to be doing kind of just winging a design and trying to make sure that it's symmetrical and not off center. So I'm going to do 2 thin strips on this side, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Once I had both sides glued down, this is what it looked like, and right now it looks like antennas. It's going to come together, you guys. And I'm taking that same trim and doing a horizontal line. My goal with this was to make it kind of look like the design on his chest plate for his armor. And again, I was going off of like a bunch of different reference photos because he's had so many variations of his costume. So this is what I went with. And then I'm using this little silicone spatula, which is actually from the beauty section at Dollar Tree, to apply face masks with, but it works really well for hot glue. Also, this video is not sponsored by Dollar Tree, unless Dollar Tree would like to sponsor me in the future, which I'm totally open to. But I'm going to do 2 layers of the ribbon on the horizontal line as well, and glue those down with hot glue. After that, I'm going to flip the ear over, and I'm going to glue down the excess pieces that I had at the top so that they are hidden underneath the ear. I did feel like it was missing a little something, so I decided to add diagonal pieces back to the front going down. I just thought it gave it a little bit more of a look like armor. This was a little tricky to get exactly right. I don't think that I got it perfectly symmetrical, but I do think it was good enough. Also, if you end up working with this exact trim, just keep in mind to keep your hot glue lines really thin, because as you can see, there's like holes in the trim and you don't want it to ooze out and burn your finger. And then same as we did for the top pieces, I'm just going to fold these over into hot glue so that they're hidden on the back side. Now for the bow, I already had this like pre-made ribbon sash that I cut off of a dress because I didn't like it. So I'm going to be making a bow out of this. I don't have the exact measurement that I did, but normally I like my bows to be around 5 inches wide, between 4 and 5 inches. So I do know that it's somewhere around that size. And I did a thin line of hot glue and then just connected the 2 ends. You would really easily be able to recreate this with a nice satin ribbon if you just picked that up, and then you wouldn't have to worry about hemming the edges or anything. And then using that same velvet ribbon that we used on one of the ears, that's what I'm using around the middle. So I just closed it up to make a hoop and then pinched it and added a little ribbon to the middle. I did feel like this bow was too small because I wanted to add this little keychain to the ears. So you can see me kind of looking at it here, and I just thought it was overwhelming, this tiny little bow. So I decided to double layer the bow because I still had more of that sash ribbon left. So again, I'm just like folding over my ribbon and kind of eyeballing it to be like, yeah, that looks about the same size. And then I took off the middle part so that I could put them together. So you're gonna see me make another bow here, just a thin line of hot glue, folding over the end and tapping it down into the glue. And then I'm gonna pinch it to kind of make that bow shape and combine it with my other one. I didn't even like recut the velvet ribbon because I was like, no, it should fit. And then it didn't. So I had to recut it so that it would be long enough to cover both bow pieces. But I do think this came out really nice and full. Also, I'm going to throw this out there, but you can buy pre-made bows at Walmart and Hobby Lobby and stuff a lot of the time for like $1. So if you don't want to go through this of like making the bow yourself, or you don't want to buy additional fabric, that is a really easy way to do it. Next, we're going to move on to the keychain. So obviously I had to cut off the keychain portion of this, which wasn't hard. It's made of like a silicone, like really soft plasticky material. So I just took some scissors and cut off the top portion that looks like a keychain hole. I did also decide to cut off the word Falcon because it hung a little bit too low below the bow. So I did test it out. I didn't like it. I just took an X-Acto knife and kind of sliced it off. I did look at placing it on the chest plate kind of design of the ears, but I just didn't like it very much, so I didn't decide to use it. But now we're going to go to assembling all of the pieces. Yay! So using my spacing template, which again I have linked down below for you guys if you'd like to use it, I'm going to lay out my headband and my ears. I'm going to do a thin line of hot glue on the bottom of the ear. I say thin, you do need to use a good amount of glue, but you don't want to overwhelm it because it will ooze out the bottom if you do too much. You just want to very firmly hold the ear down until that glue has fully set and dry. And usually you can feel it. The glue will cool off as it's cooling. And then I'm going to repeat those steps for the other ear, a line of hot glue on the bottom, and then lining it up on the spacing template and very firmly holding that ear down until it dries. Now for the bow, it's just a little dot of hot glue on the bottom of the bow. Make sure that it's nice and centered and go ahead and attach it. I got these jumbo clips in a 2-pack at Dollar Tree, again, not sponsored, and they are so good for holding the bow in place while that glue dries, so you can kind of like not have to sit there and hold it with your hand. After that, I decided to glue the character into the center of the bow, and that's the last step. Now you have your own set of Falcon inspired ears. My daughter loved these with her little outfit on the cruise, and everybody loved that she had wings and matching ears. So let her be your inspiration, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.